Hello, I'm Grant, and welcome back to Phrasal Verb News, where we use real news stories to teach you phrasal verbs and idioms in context. I'll explain the news story and give a brief description of the new vocabulary, and at the end of the podcast, I'll provide a deeper explanation, examples, and ask you some questions so you can practice using the new vocabulary right away. Let's get started. Today's story is about three giants: AMD, Nvidia, Trump, and a deal that's making headlines. AMD and Nvidia are the two biggest chip manufacturers in the world. The technology they make is used to power AI and other powerful new technologies. For years, the US has clamped down on chip sales to China, meaning restricted, because they were worried about national security. Even watered down or less powerful versions of advanced AI chips were eventually banned from being sold to China. But now the US has backed down and agreed to let AMD and Nvidia carry on with or continue with sales to China, if and only if they hand over 15% of the revenue from those sales to the US government. And that's 15% of revenue, not 15% of profits. That's billions of dollars that will end up in the US Treasury. But at what cost? Critics say the move is short-sighted. Sure, the government will see an increase in revenue in the short term, but giving our economic rival access to this technology could put America at risk of losing the technological arms race to China. What do you think? Let's get into the vocab. I'll give you a couple examples and then ask you a question. If you can, try to pause the podcast and answer the question out loud or in your head. This will help you remember and actually be able to use the word in the future. First, clamp down on. This means to take strong action to stop or control something. You'll also hear people say crack down on. For example, the police are clamping down on speeding in the city center. The company is cracking down on employees using unapproved software. And the question: has your government or company clamped down on anything recently? Next, we have back down, meaning to change your position or admit defeat after pressure. For example, I was going to argue, but I backed down when I realized she was right. Management backed down after employees threatened to go on strike. And the question: can you think of a time you backed down from a decision? Carry on, to continue to do something. For example, even after the rain started, they carried on with the game. We decided to carry on with the product launch despite the delay. And a question: what's something you've had to carry on with even when it was difficult? Short-sighted. This is an adjective that means not considering the long-term effects of an action, usually only thinking about the immediate benefits. For example, it's short-sighted to skip regular car maintenance just to save a little bit of money today. Cutting staff to save money might be a short-sighted move if it hurts customer service. And a question: have you ever seen a company make a short-sighted decision? What happened? And finally, end up. This means to finally be in a particular place or situation, often without planning it and often without wanting it. For example, we got lost and ended up in a completely different town. All the extra budget ended up in the marketing department. And the last question: where do you think most of your country's tax money ends up? So whether you see this as a smart way to boost government revenue or a risky move that could backfire, one thing is clear: the language we use to describe it is just as important as the politics behind it. So practice these expressions, and you'll be ready to talk about deals, debates, and decisions just like this in both everyday and business conversations. I'm Grant with Business as Usual English. Thanks for listening, and come back tomorrow for more news and more English. Thank you.